This week, as we always do, we're trying to give more information about what's possible, what's out there. We're going to switch it up a little bit because we've been getting so many requests around this, around AI receptionist. So what we mean by that is having people call your company and having an AI receptionist actually have a conversation, answer those questions, give information, book calls. And so it goes from both companies that are getting calls, and you can also have AI that does outbound calls for things like scheduling or booking appointments or things like that. So it's a really exciting time. If you are a company that has a phone, then this technology has an impact on you. And we did a session last week, and between last week and this week, we just mentioned it a little bit, and we got a lot of requests about it. So for that reason, this week here at Vylos, we want to give you some more information. And so David, you're the one that's on the tech side of this. Tell me, so what is the big shift, or what has happened that now allows this to happen in a much better way? Because we all know when we call a company and then it says press one for the language, press two for the office, press three, and we have to wait. It's horrible. But AI can now have a conversation with us. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's just another medium how you communicate with a large language model, because usually they use text, but they are already multimodal because there are real-time APIs which can process audio directly and answer in audio directly. But there are also solutions where you just convert the spoken language to text, feed it to a large language model, and the output text is then converted again to spoken language. In general, yeah, that's one part of this technology, is that conversations work no matter if it's via text in the chat interface or via audio when you talk with them, or even video. It's emergent right now, video as well. And I don't know if you have recognized it, but Google also announced it has now Google avatars, so you can have your own virtual video avatar. So there was already a lot of discussion about it, if it's good or bad, or will we sit in video meetings with computers. So this is exactly what conversational AI does, and audio is just another medium. And these IVRs, it's called IVR, where you have these buttons to press. This was just a signal for the receiving system that it knows which workflow to kick off. So if you press the 2, you hear sound, this beep, and these numbers, the sounds of these numbers were signals that could be processed by these telephony systems. So clear signal, like the beep is a very clear signal. And now your voice is enough as a signal. So you can just tell the AI what your problem is and what you would like to have as a solution. And on the other side, of course, with agents now, AI agents, you can equip this receptionist with tools even. So it's not only that it forwards to the right persons or to the right team, but there might be a lot of tasks where this AI agent can solve the problem of the customer already in a conversational style. And then when we talk about observability and traceability and so on, you can even combine it with workflows that you have the call log, that you create a ticket for your analysis, that you update the user base, that you have the history there. So when the user comes in your shop, then the real agent knows, yeah, you called and we solved this issue. You know, all of this, you can combine it nicely with these systems.
David, is this in testing phase for companies now? Do companies have this in production and it's running well? How much can we trust at this point in time?
Yeah, I think there are several layers of technology interfering right now. So there is a huge landscape of legacy telephony system running these IVRs. Of course, these companies know what the time is now and what it's at stake. But I think they might have some challenges to update all their systems accordingly and fast in the way that probably customers anticipated right now. This is also a thing. I think companies need to realize how fast the adoption of this technology is, because customers would expect this now from a company. So if I call a company and there's still an IVR, and then the company itself on this homepage has something like how cutting edge they are in AI technology, then I would probably probably already doubted. And of course, there are already companies which have this as a core offering, AI, for example, or there are more out there which have this, which do this quite some time. Even before large language models were a thing, you could have more elaborate conversational receptionists, but it was a lot of effort, training and really making sure that the flows are there and also mapping out all these flows and so on. And now with large language models and with inference, so when I ask large language model that it's really fast in the response because latency is a thing there, and now all the systems are so fast. So this is a new time right now because that you really can talk to an AI receptionist, which is an AI agent with tools and knowledge base and a big variety of things you could do with it. That's, of course, quite new because the whole technology is quite new. And so there is overlapping. I think there is a catch-up running on, new players emerging, then the existing ones updating their systems. And this will all take time. My advice, like always, is the best thing is to avoid vendor lock-in as much as possible. So we have to be aware large language models are developing so fast. And you want to be able to swap the providers easily. You want to be flexible and you want to keep your business logic on your side, no matter what. It could be, they raise prices or they lock you in and then bleed you out. and also you don't want to set up the same things over and over and over again. So you want to have at some point a knowledge base which is consumable by different kinds of AI agents, no matter if it's your AI receptionist or the one working in your ticketing system or the one in the back office answering questions from your back office team, they all should have kind of the same knowledge base. And this is where companies should start to think about how to handle and maintain all the peripheral infrastructure you need for driving AI agents. So this was long for, I think it's a very complex landscape and a lot of solutions will fly around. But again, you need to see the signal in the noise where you say, okay, what does an AI agent need? What is it? What I need to maintain and have on my side to be flexible and to be prepared for the near and long-term future.
I think too, we got such a big reaction last week because everyone has this experience of calling a company, being put on hold, pressing buttons, then the buttons change, then you press another one, then it skips over. Then now I think in recent years, it actually just hangs up on you. And so I know as an American in healthcare, this happens all the time, when I'm trying to call a healthcare company. So I think, the key message that I would just say from our conversations and from what's happening is language capabilities with AI and conversational situations. It's pretty scary. It's mind-blowing. It's the same way as if you're typing in a chat. Once you press enter, it'll answer you. That's the same way with a conversation. So there's no gap. And then the other thing that I would say too is that, I'm actually warning all the people in my life that are older and younger about scams using my voice or people's voice they might know, because it's getting so good that it's hard to tell the difference. These
Absolutely.
AI does not sound like a robot anymore. It can sound like your brother, sister, mother, friend. And with that being said, it's more and more clear that this technology is now possible and it can be used for good and it can be used in a way that makes people's experience much better. So I think this week we're going to keep it really short because we wanted to answer some of these questions that we got. But David, any last thing to add?
I think this will be one key feature of this technology now in the near future, that we realize that more channels are now available to gather and structure data, which means if knowledge if a person has something you need or has knowledge you would like to gather in a workflow, there is a step where you have to call this person or you have to be in a video call to get the information. And I think these are now legit channels for gathering information automatically. And on the other side, I always want to point out, it's always an ethical question also with these new technologies, because as you said, scams will be so good. Voice cloning, it's so easy now to do this. Probably if someone would just have this video from us, they could clone our voices tremendously good. And very soon, or already possible, also appearance. So, I tried this also. We can make another post about this, what generative avatars can do, and they get also really good. So, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's always how you use it, but that's kind of for any technology which has an impact, which is a meaningful technology. You always have the outcomes from the people using it. So yeah.
Well, David, thanks again. And I think for anyone watching, if you have any other questions about call systems or IVR, the new technology that's possible, feel free to write them in the chat. And see you again next week. Thanks, David.